Have you noticed subtle changes in your aging parent or grandparent that leave you wondering if something deeper is happening? Many of us assume that major health changes announce themselves dramatically: a fall, a medical emergency, or a sudden diagnosis. But the reality is quite different. The journey of aging often reveals itself through quiet signals that appear months or even years before a crisis occurs. The challenge is that these early warning signs are easy to dismiss. A forgotten appointment becomes just a senior moment. Weight loss gets attributed to not having much appetite these days, and gradually declining energy seems like a natural part of getting older. It's only when we look back that we realize these weren't isolated incidents, but part of a pattern signaling that our loved one needed more support. In today's video, we're exploring 7 critical changes that often appear when an elderly person is beginning to need additional care. Understanding these signals gives you precious time to make thoughtful decisions rather than rushed ones, to have important conversations while communication is still clear, and to ensure your loved one's dignity and preferences remain at the center of their care journey. Stay with us until the end, because recognizing these 7 signs can transform how you support your aging family member. When you understand what's happening beneath the surface, you won't be caught unprepared. You'll have the knowledge to advocate effectively and the foresight to create meaningful moments while you still can. Let's begin. Sign 1. Changing relationship with food and nutrition. One of the earliest and most overlooked indicators that an aging parent needs additional support is a shifting relationship with food. Perhaps you've noticed half-eaten meals in the refrigerator, expiration dates long past on pantry items, or a kitchen that once bustled with cooking activity now rarely used. These changes aren't simply about pickiness or changing taste preferences. They often signal deeper issues that can significantly impact an elder's health and independence. When we visit our parents, we might notice they've become thinner, their clothes looser, but it's easy to miss the gradual nature of this change when we see them regularly. Weight loss in older adults rarely happens by choice. Instead, it frequently points to underlying challenges. Sometimes it's physical: dental problems making chewing painful, diminished sense of taste making food less appealing, or digestive issues causing discomfort after eating. Other times the causes are practical: difficulty standing long enough to prepare meals, challenges with grocery shopping, or troubles managing cooking tasks that once came easily. What makes this particularly concerning is that proper nutrition serves as the foundation for everything else in an elder's life. Without adequate protein, calories, and nutrients, muscle mass diminishes rapidly, leading to weakness, balance problems, and increased fall risk. Cognitive function depends on proper nourishment, and even medication effectiveness can be compromised by poor nutrition. Many families notice these changes and respond by stocking the freezer with easy meals or bringing over home-cooked food. While helpful in the moment, these band-aid solutions don't address the underlying issue that food preparation has become an obstacle too difficult to navigate independently. The nutrition challenge often extends beyond the kitchen. You might notice grocery lists becoming shorter, shopping trips less frequent, or a newfound reliance on a limited rotation of simple foods. Your parent might wave off your concerns saying, "I don't need much these days," or "I just eat light now," but these explanations often mask the growing difficulty of maintaining proper nutrition independently. If you're observing unexplained weight loss, a simplified diet, a refrigerator containing primarily condiments rather than fresh foods, or meal preparation that seems to have become a burden rather than a pleasure, take note. These aren't simply changes in preference, they're often early signals that your loved one is beginning to struggle with an essential daily activity. When you recognize these nutrition changes early, you have valuable time to explore solutions that preserve independence while ensuring proper nourishment, from meal delivery services to cooking assistance to community dining programs. The goal isn't to take over, but to provide support that keeps this fundamental aspect of health from declining further. Sign 2. Subtle changes in home environment. The home environment often tells a story that your aging parent may not be willing or able to articulate. Spaces that were once meticulously maintained may show signs of neglect that appear gradually but speak volumes about changing capabilities. Look around during your next visit. Are there dishes accumulating in the sink when your mother always prided herself on a spotless kitchen? Is the mail piling up unopened? Has gardening, once a passion, now resulted in overgrown beds and unattended plants? These shifts in home maintenance aren't about suddenly becoming messy, they're often signals that everyday tasks have become overwhelming. The changes might be subtle at first, perhaps certain areas of the home receive attention while others don't. The main living room stays tidy because it's manageable, but rarely visited rooms gather dust. The lawn gets mowed because a service handles it, but flower beds that require bending and kneeling show neglect. Laundry piles up longer between cycles, or bed linens don't get changed as frequently. What's particularly revealing is when long-established patterns of home care begin to shift. Your father, who always handled household repairs, might now live with a dripping faucet or broken drawer pull for months. Your mother, who kept immaculate closets, might now have cluttered, disorganized spaces. These aren't simply changes in priorities, they often reflect that maintaining the home environment has become too physically demanding or cognitively complex. Safety issues may also emerge in the home environment. You might notice burn marks on pots from forgotten cooking, increased clutter creating trip hazards, or important items like medications stored in disorganized ways. Household tasks that require multiple steps, like doing laundry, which involves sorting, carrying, washing, drying, folding, and putting away, may be partially completed but not finished. Many seniors feel tremendous shame about these changes and may try to hide them. They might rush to clean before your visits, restrict you to certain areas of the home, or make excuses about getting to it later. Some may even decline visits altogether rather than reveal that they're struggling to maintain their living space. If you notice these environmental changes, approach the situation with sensitivity rather than criticism. Rather than pointing out what isn't being done, ask gentle questions. I notice the recycling seems heavy to move. Would it be helpful if I took that out when I visit? Or the high shelves must be hard to reach for dusting. Would you like some help with that? These environmental shifts aren't just about cleanliness or aesthetics, they're often early indicators that living independently is becoming more challenging. Recognizing them gives you opportunity to introduce appropriate supports, whether that's regular housekeeping help, simplifying the living space, or exploring other living arrangements before a crisis forces the issue. Sign 3. Medication management difficulties. For many aging adults, maintaining an independent life depends largely on managing a complex medication regimen. When this system begins to falter, it often signals broader challenges that deserve attention. Take notice if you spot concerning patterns. Pill bottles with incorrect amounts remaining, confusion about which medications to take when missed refills, or pills found scattered in unusual places around the home. These aren't simply matters of forgetfulness. They could indicate serious cognitive changes, vision problems, or physical limitations that make medication management increasingly difficult. The complexity of many seniors' medication schedules can be staggering. It's not uncommon for elderly adults to take multiple prescriptions, each with its own schedule, dosage instructions, and potential side effects. Some must be taken with food, others on an empty stomach. Some need to be separated from certain other medications by several hours. Managing this intricate dance requires memory, organizational skills, and physical dexterity, all of which can decline with age. What makes medication challenges particularly concerning is their potential for serious health consequences. Taking too much, too little, or inconsistently can lead to dangerous drug interactions, reduced effectiveness, or worsened health conditions. This creates a troubling cycle where cognitive function might further decline due to improper medication management, making the person even less capable of managing their medications correctly. Watch for signs of confusion when your loved one discusses their medications. They might struggle to explain what each one is for, mix up dosing instructions, or show uncertainty about whether they've taken their daily pills. Physical changes can impact medication management too, arthritis making it difficult to open bottles, vision problems leading to misread labels, or decreased mobility, making it harder to get water for taking pills. Some seniors develop workarounds when medication management becomes challenging. They might create makeshift systems using kitchen containers rather than pill organizers, or develop notes and reminders that become increasingly complex and confusing. Others might simplify by taking medications when they remember rather than on the prescribed schedule, not realizing the potential consequences. If your parent has traditionally been private about their healthcare, these issues may be particularly difficult to detect. You might need to look for indirect signs, unusual symptoms that could indicate missed medications, pharmacy calls about unfilled prescriptions, or medication bottles that remain sealed despite needing replacement. When you observe medication management difficulties, consider it an important signal that additional support may be needed. This might range from simplified medication systems and daily check-in calls to medication management technology or more comprehensive in-home care. Addressing this issue early can prevent the serious health consequences that often result from medication errors and give you insights into your loved one's broader cognitive and physical functioning. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment support below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed to our Elderly Sage channel yet, I recommend hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications so you don't miss our weekly guidance on navigating the aging journey. Your engagement helps us continue creating meaningful content for families facing these challenging transitions. Now let's continue with our next sign. Sign 4, social withdrawal and isolation. One of the most heartbreaking but significant signs that an elderly person needs more support is a gradual disconnection from their social world. The parent who once maintained an active calendar of community events, religious services, or regular gatherings with friends may begin declining invitations, withdrawing from organizations, or spending increasing amounts of time alone. This social withdrawal rarely happens suddenly. It typically emerges as a pattern of small retreats, the book club membership that lapses, the religious service attendance that becomes sporadic, or the neighborhood walks that cease. Many families miss these changes because they happen incrementally, and because the elder often provides plausible explanations. "I'm just tired today," or "the weather isn't good for going out." What makes this particularly concerning is that social connection serves as a vital health factor for older adults. Research consistently shows that socially engaged seniors experience better cognitive function, stronger immune systems, lower rates of depression, and even longer lifespans than their isolated counterparts. When social engagement diminishes, it often triggers a cascade of other health declines. There are multiple reasons an elder might begin withdrawing socially. Sometimes it's physical, hearing loss making group conversations frustrating, mobility challenges making outings difficult, or incontinence concerns, creating anxiety about being away from home. Other times it's cognitive, finding it harder to follow conversations, struggling to remember people's names, or feeling overwhelmed by social information. Many seniors experience profound shame about these difficulties and choose isolation rather than risking embarrassment. The father who once dominated dinner conversations may become quiet when he struggles to find words. The mother who was always impeccably groomed may avoid social gatherings when managing her appearance becomes challenging. Rather than adapting, many choose to withdraw. Transportation issues frequently accelerate social isolation when driving becomes unsafe or uncomfortable, especially at night or in unfamiliar areas. An elder's world can quickly shrink to the confines of their home. Without reliable, accessible transportation alternatives, even the most socially inclined senior may find their social life severely restricted. The digital divide compounds this problem. While younger generations might easily pivot to virtual social connections, many elders find technology challenging, complex, or unsatisfying as a substitute for in-person interaction. A video call might be better than nothing, but it rarely replaces the richness of sharing physical space with others. If you notice your loved one's social circle narrowing, take it seriously. Listen for comments about friends they haven't seen in months, organizations they've quietly stopped mentioning, or excuses that consistently prevent social engagement. Check their calendar. Is it notably emptier than it once was? Has church attendance, previously a cornerstone of their week, become irregular? Addressing social isolation early can prevent the accelerated physical and cognitive decline that often follows. This might involve arranging transportation services, exploring senior centers or day programs, finding activities adapted to their current abilities, or even considering living arrangements with built-in social opportunities. The goal isn't forcing unwanted socialization, but ensuring that isolation isn't occurring simply because obstacles make connection too difficult. Sign 5. Cognitive processing changes. Cognitive changes in aging adults often emerge subtly, easily mistaken for normal aging, rather than signals that support may be needed. These aren't typically dramatic memory failures, but rather shifts in how information is processed, managed, and applied to daily life. You might notice that your usually financially astute father is suddenly struggling with basic money management, bills paid twice or not at all, unusual purchases, or confusion about account balances. Perhaps your mother, who prided herself on never needing shopping lists, now seems disorganized at the store, forgetting essential items while buying duplicates of things she already has. These aren't just occasional lapses, they represent changes in executive function, the brain's ability to plan, organize, and complete multi-step tasks. Time management often shows revealing changes. Appointments get missed not because they're forgotten entirely, but because preparing for them has become overwhelming. A doctor's visit requires remembering the time, planning transportation, gathering insurance information, preparing questions, and physically getting ready, a sequence that can become increasingly difficult to coordinate. What appears as running late or missing appointments may actually signal cognitive processing challenges. Decision-making capacity can also shift in concerning ways. You might notice your previously decisive parent becoming paralyzed by relatively simple choices, or conversely, making impulsive decisions without considering consequences. They might defer increasingly to others for decisions they once handled independently, or show poor judgment in situations requiring critical thinking. Technology often highlights cognitive changes. The parent who comfortably used email or social media may begin struggling with previously mastered digital tasks. They might call repeatedly with the same technology questions, abandon digital tools they once used regularly, or show increasing frustration with interfaces that haven't actually changed. What makes these cognitive shifts particularly challenging to identify is that most seniors develop compensation strategies. They might rely heavily on notes, calendars, and reminders while insisting their memory is fine. They might simplify their lives to avoid complex tasks or create elaborate systems to manage what once came naturally. These adaptations can mask underlying cognitive changes until a novel situation arises that can't be managed with established workarounds. Language and communication often reveal subtle cognitive changes too. You might notice your loved one frequently searching for words, losing the thread of conversations, repeating the same stories or questions, or struggling to follow complex discussions. They might begin speaking more simply, using fewer specific details and more general terms. Phone conversations might become shorter as they require more cognitive effort than face-to-face interaction with its additional contextual cues. If you observe these processing changes, resist the urge to simply label them as getting older. While normal aging does bring some cognitive slowing, significant difficulties with executive function, decision-making, language, or learning new information warrant attention. These changes don't necessarily indicate dementia, but they do suggest that cognitive demands may be exceeding your loved one's current capacity. Recognizing cognitive processing changes early allows for appropriate medical evaluation, which might identify treatable conditions like medication side effects, vitamin deficiencies, or depression that can impact cognition. It also provides opportunity to introduce supportive strategies before a crisis occurs, from memory aids and simplified routines to financial oversight and care coordination, that can help your loved one maintain dignity and independence, despite changing cognitive abilities. Sign 6. Physical mobility and balance concerns. Changes in how an elderly person moves through the world often provide clear signals that additional support is becoming necessary. These aren't always dramatic changes. You probably won't miss a broken hip or a major fall, but the subtle shifts in gait, balance, and physical confidence that precede such events. Pay attention if you notice your mother holding onto furniture as she moves through her home, what professionals call furniture walking. Watch for a shortened stride length, decreased arm swing while walking, or a hesitation before navigating transitions like steps or thresholds. These aren't conscious choices but adaptations to decreasing balance, confidence, and physical strength. The stairs in their home can reveal telling patterns. A parent who previously bounded up and down might now approach stairs with noticeable caution, always using the handrail, taking one step at a time, or preferring to limit stair use altogether. You might notice they've begun reorganizing their home to avoid frequent stair climbing, perhaps creating a main floor sleeping arrangement or keeping essential items on one level. Body positioning changes often signal declining physical confidence. Your previously upright father might begin leaning forward while walking, his gaze directed at the floor instead of ahead. Your mother might sit only in chairs with armrests that assist with standing. These adaptations develop gradually as seniors attempt to create stability in response to feeling physically vulnerable. What makes mobility changes particularly significant is their connection to independence. The ability to move safely through one's environment forms the foundation for nearly every activity of daily living. When movement becomes challenging or frightening, an elder often begins restricting their activities, avoiding outings, limiting household tasks, or reducing participation in previously enjoyed activities. The bathroom frequently becomes a site of mobility challenges. Getting in and out of the tub, lowering to and rising from the toilet, or standing at the sink for personal care may become difficult long before other activities show obvious decline. Many seniors feel embarrassed about these intimate struggles and go to great lengths to hide them, making them easy to miss until a crisis occurs. Environmental modifications often provide clues about mobility concerns. New grab bars in the bathroom, furniture rearranged to create wider pathways, or commonly used items moved to more accessible locations may indicate your loved one is already aware of and attempting to accommodate changing physical abilities. Declining physical confidence frequently leads to a dangerous cycle. Decreased activity leads to muscle weakness and deconditioning, which further reduces mobility and increases fall risk, leading to even less activity. Breaking this cycle requires early intervention before significant physical capacity is lost. If you notice these mobility changes, consider them important signals rather than simply slowing down with age. While some physical changes are indeed part of normal aging, significant alterations in how someone moves through their environment often indicate they're approaching the limits of safe independent functioning. Addressing these changes proactively, through physical therapy, appropriate mobility aids, environmental modifications, or increased support, can prevent the serious falls that often precipitate rapid health declines in elderly adults. If you're finding value in understanding these warning signs, please type mobility in the comments to let us know this content is helpful. Your feedback guides our future videos on aging well. Don't forget to subscribe to our Elderly Sage channel for weekly guidance on supporting your aging loved ones with compassion and practical solutions. Now let's explore our final key indicator. Sign 7. Healthcare management, overwhelm. Managing one's health becomes increasingly complex with age, and difficulties navigating this complexity often signal that an elderly person needs additional support. The healthcare system can be challenging for anyone to navigate, but for seniors facing multiple chronic conditions, cognitive changes, and physical limitations, it can become overwhelming in ways that compromise their care. Watch for signs that healthcare management is becoming too complex for your loved one to handle independently. You might notice appointments being missed or confused, recommended follow-ups that never happen, or prescriptions that don't get filled. Your previously proactive parent might become passive about health concerns, delaying seeking care even for significant symptoms. Communication with healthcare providers often reveals telling patterns. Your mother, who once asked detailed questions during medical appointments, might now sit quietly, seeming disengaged or overwhelmed. Your father might struggle to accurately report his symptoms, medication changes, or the timeline of health events. These communication challenges can lead to poorer quality care, as providers miss important information needed for proper diagnosis and treatment. The administrative aspects of healthcare, insurance paperwork, billing questions, scheduling procedures, coordinating between specialists, create particular difficulties. Many seniors find themselves drowning in medical paperwork they don't fully understand, unable to resolve billing errors, or confused about which specialist handles which aspect of their care. What younger adults might handle with a few phone calls becomes an insurmountable obstacle for many elders. Technology increasingly complicates healthcare access. As medical practices adopt patient portals, online appointment scheduling, and digital communication, many seniors find themselves effectively locked out of efficient healthcare management. Even telephone systems with multiple automated menus can become barriers to accessing needed care. What makes healthcare management particularly challenging is that it often requires multiple cognitive skills working together: memory to recall symptoms and medical history, executive function to coordinate appointments and follow treatment plans. language processing to understand medical terminology, and problem solving to navigate insurance and billing systems. As these cognitive abilities change, healthcare management typically shows strain before other areas of life. Many families miss these signals because their loved one has traditionally been private about medical matters. An elder might not volunteer that they're struggling to schedule appointments, understand discharge instructions, or follow complex treatment protocols. They might be embarrassed about their difficulties or fear losing independence if they admit to struggling. If you notice healthcare management problems, consider accompanying your loved one to appointments, even virtually, offering to help organize their medical information, or creating simplified systems for medication and treatment plan adherence. These supports can make the difference between receiving appropriate, coordinated care and experiencing fragmented care that fails to address important health needs. Remember that healthcare management difficulties don't necessarily mean your loved one needs comprehensive assistance in all areas of life. Many seniors benefit from targeted support with complex healthcare tasks while maintaining independence in other domains. The goal is identifying specific challenges and addressing them before preventable health crises occur. As we conclude our exploration of these 7 signals, it's important to reflect on what they collectively tell us. Changing relationships with food, shifts in home environment, medication management difficulties, social withdrawal, cognitive processing changes, mobility concerns, and healthcare management overwhelm. Each represents an area where independence may be quietly eroding, often months or years before a crisis forces the issue. Recognizing these changes isn't about rushing to take over your loved one's life or pushing them toward assisted living. It's about opening conversations early when there's still time for collaborative planning rather than emergency decisions. It's about preserving dignity by addressing challenges before they lead to dangerous situations or significant quality of life declines. Many families hesitate to acknowledge these changes because they fear conflict or worry about overstepping. Your parent might indeed resist discussions about declining capabilities. Few people readily accept that they need more help. But approaching these conversations with respect, focusing on specific concerns rather than general worries, and emphasizing that your goal is supporting their continued independence, can open doors to productive planning. Remember that introducing support isn't an all-or-nothing proposition. Most elders benefit from targeted assistance that addresses specific challenges while maintaining independence in areas where they remain capable. Perhaps medication management needs oversight while cooking remains a source of pleasure and competence. Maybe driving should be limited while social engagement is encouraged. The right approach preserves autonomy wherever possible while ensuring safety and well-being. If you're noticing several of these signs in someone you love, begin by simply observing patterns over time rather than reacting to isolated incidents. Document specific examples of concerning changes, which provides both clarity for you and concrete talking points for family discussions. Consider consulting with professionals experienced in geriatric care who can help assess needs objectively and suggest appropriate supports. Above all, approach this journey with compassion, both for your aging loved one and for yourself. Your parent is experiencing profound changes that challenge their identity and independence. Acknowledging their struggles doesn't diminish their dignity, it honors the reality of their experience. And navigating this transition as a family member brings its own emotional challenges that deserve recognition and support. Thank you for taking time to understand these important signals of changing needs. I'd love to hear your experiences. Please share in the comments one sign you've noticed in your own family and how you approached it. Your stories help others feel less alone in this journey. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with siblings or friends facing similar situations, and subscribe to our Elderly Sage channel for weekly guidance on supporting aging loved ones with knowledge, sensitivity, and practical solutions. Until next time, remember that recognizing these changes early isn't about limitation, it's about creating the conditions for your loved one to age with dignity, safety, and the highest possible quality of life.